I was muted. So hello everyone and welcome to a really weird angle here because my Wi-Fi was being weird over there. And anyway, this is a really weird start to the show, but it's gonna be a little different show today. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you could see my weird shadows, the light going on. Welcome to episode number 48 of Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer. This is the first ever Ask Me Anything show. I've never done an Ask Me Anything show on this show before. I've been kind of like, I don't know, cancer, I don't know, Ask Me Anything, I don't know. But there's people in the green room waiting, so we're going to try this. And people are chatting up a storm in the comments and in the private messages, and I'm just going to keep going here. So this show is created as a safe space where cancer patients, survivors, and supporters come together to share their stories and connect, as well as find resources that provide healing, hope, and resilience. I am Tim Sohn, here, hanging out here in the shadows of Pennsylvania. In the shadows, yes. And I'm the host of Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer and a live streaming producer and coach for nonprofits, businesses, and entrepreneurs who make a positive impact in the world. Thank you so much for joining us, and let us know, where are you tuning in from around the world, and what is your connection to cancer? We want to know for sure, so let us know in the chat all about that. I see you guys are blowing up the comments already. Also, before I bring on our guests, there's already several people in the green room waiting. I just want to remind everyone that coming up on November 5th is the first ever in-person Showing Up on Cancer event. Here is all the information right here. You could go to perspectivesoncancer.com to sign up. If you could sign up by October 24th, that would be great. That way I could order all the name badges and all the food and all the things. And yes, I need to figure out a better angle. This is weird. But thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. Let's see. Anything else? I think that's really it. Like I said before, welcome. This is an Ask Me Anything show. You could ask me about my cancer journey. You could ask me about the show. You could ask me about live streaming. You could ask me about the bears and the turkeys that I see around here. It's really, just keep it G-rated. That's all I ask. Anyway, thanks everyone for being here. I just briefly want to go to the comments and thank everyone who's tuning in. Jennifer Graves is here. Thank you for being here, Jennifer. Jennifer, you are such a loyal viewer of the show. Thanks for showing up. Zach is making trouble. He says, see you and hear you, Tim. Thank you, Zach. Shannon is here. She says, the behind the scenes. Yes, this is behind my house. You guys want to see behind my house? Look, so there's a little umbrella, and do you guys see any bears or turkeys? You see anything? I don't see any right now. I have to keep an eye out, though. You never know. Oh, and Shannon actually asked, do you see any bears today? And let's see, who else is here? James Harden is here. Welcome, James. Tim McDonald is here from Tampa, Florida. He is a stage 4 colon cancer with mets to the liver, diagnosed in November 2020. You guys could go to timsliver.com. I know he's still looking for an organ donor, which is so important. So if you guys want to find out more information about how to help him out, you could go there. And Tim McDonald says, what shirt is under the hoodie? Yes. So this shirt says kindness inspired on it. My friend Elizabeth Ndungu has a brand called Kindness Inspired. I'm sure you could just Google it. Google Kindness Inspired. And she used to have a live streaming show as well called Kindness Inspired, where she would have kindness and she would highlight people every week who are kind, and she would have people nominate them. It's a really cool show, and she's really great. So thanks for asking, Tim. That's an awesome question. And we love you too, Jennifer. And Brian O'Sullivan is here. Great to see you, Brian. He says mantle cell lymphoma driver, not just survivor. He's a driver and a survivor. Look at that. In New Jersey, working about listening. Well, thank you all. I appreciate you all. Philip Jones is here. He says, "Hey everyone from Los Angeles." He's watching from a dialysis clinic. Well, that's dedication, Philip Jones. Uh, thank you so much for showing up. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, let me know in the chat, guys. Are you guys ready to get this show on the roll on the road on the bagel? Let me know. Do you prefer rolls or bagels? Which one's your preference? Let's go down that rabbit hole right away. But instead of rabbit holes, how about let's bring a guest on? Let's do that. So first, let me know if any of you guys have any time constraints in the private chat. First, I'm going to bring on Mr. Mark Kageyama. It will work.
Hello, Tim. Hello, everyone.
Mark. Welcome.
Thank you.
It's great to see you. You are you've been an amazing guest co-host as well as guest, and you show up often in the comments.
I do my best. I do my best. Yeah, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And I love the scenery in the back.
Yes.
In your background, and your spirit shines through.
Oh, good. I just keep moving the computer because the computer's been freezing a few times, so we're doing that. Okay, so Mark, would first introduce yourself to everybody who doesn't know who you are.
My name is Mark Kageyama, and I'm from Southern California. I live in the San Fernando Valley outside of Los Angeles. I'm a stage 4 prostate, bone, and lung cancer patient. Been dealing with it for almost 2 years and doing much better. My daughter just got married in a formal ceremony a little over a week ago. Great. So I'm recuperating from that, but that was really a beautiful ceremony, and everything came out well. And my takeaways from it are my daughter had a number of people there that she grew up with from preschool and middle school and high school. And so it was so great to see people get together and celebrate in person. So that was the first time I had gotten together at a big event since COVID, and it was great. It was really great. And we were so happy that everything went well, and to see all the people. And I was telling Tim before we jumped on here that I actually met one of the fathers of one of my daughter's friends, and I had known her for years, since high school, and I had heard about her father, but never met him. But I actually had the opportunity to meet him, and I actually interviewed him and posted the video on my channel, YouTube channel, To Be Your Own Hero. And the title of it is, How Can Any Human Being Survive 83 Visits to the Emergency Room? And that's what this man has done. And so if you want to check out a really incredible, inspirational video, take a look at it, because I don't know. I think that has to be some kind of a world record or something, because I would think, logic tells you that, hey, if you've gone to the emergency room that many times, God is looking out for you. That's for sure. So that was a really tremendous blessing to experience at the wedding. But I have a question for you, Tim. Can you hear me? Tim, can you hear me? Yes? Can you answer? You're on mute or something. We can't hear you. What happened to your sound, Tim? See, this was actually intentional, because I wanted Tim to give us a tour of his house.
Oh, wait, can you hear me now?
I could hear you now.
Can you hear me now, Mark?
Yes, I could hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear
I
me,
can hear
Tim?
you. Okay.
Okay.
Mark, what is your question?
My question is you've done this live stream series now for quite a while. And when you started this, what were your expectations of the live stream, and what are your expectations now moving forward? Tim, are you there? I think we lost Tim again. Yeah, I guess he got tired showing us his house or something. Tim, are you there? Well, what I'll do is I'll talk some more about my daughter's wedding. So one of the beautiful things about it was seeing the growth and the maturity in these amazing young adults, and so that was really, really rewarding to see so many people come together that we had known for many, many years. And we had it at my daughter's mother-in-law's house up in Central California, which is about 2.5, 3 hours away. And it was a lot of work. We got up there Thursday, and there was a literal army putting this wedding together. And so it was extensive, and it came out really, really good. And we were so fortunate that there were so many people that had skills that could add to the event. My daughter's father-in-law's sister, she was a florist, so she put together, her name's Karen, she put together all the bouquets and the flowers and everything like that. And she had other relatives that cooked. In fact, we had several comments about the wedding that the food was the best wedding food that they had ever tried. I heard that from a number of people. We had tri-tip, barbecued tri-tip, and barbecued chicken, and beans and salads, and there were full appetizers, and a bar, and cake, and for the most part, everybody pretty much behaved, and the weather was awesome. Tim, there you
Hi,
are.
Mark.
So-
Sorry about that.
Oh, no problem. I was sharing about the wedding that at my daughter's. So
Oh, that's so awesome. That's so awesome. Sorry about that, guys. I tried to use my laptop. I tried to be outside in the woods. It used to work in the past for live streaming, but today it's not cooperating. But Mark, I think you had a question for me.
yes, I have a question. From when you started this live stream,
Yeah,
to now, what are your thoughts as far as the growth, and where do you want to take this channel, or take this live stream moving forward?
that's a really good question, Mark. So the show, I shouldn't say just. I'm so grateful for all of you who show up for the show every week, and who connect with each other and support each other. It's really grown into this really beautiful community. And I really see, it's continuing to grow the show with more and more guests. But I really see the show as the beginning of almost, I'd call it a movement of the showing up movement. So one of the other things coming up, that Zach, who's in the green room, he'll be showing up for the in-person event coming up on November 5th. And then there'll be some other things coming up down the line. So in terms of the show, I look forward to continuing to, continue to have conversations with cancer patients and survivors and supporters, or whatever word people use. One of the things I've learned through the show is some people are, have thought about what word they use in terms of how they define their self in their cancer journey, like cancer warrior or cancer fighter, or some people really don't like the word cancer patient, things like that. I'm curious, this is an Ask Me Anything show, but I'm going to turn it around on you, Mark. To be careful on these Ask Me Anything shows, because I might ask you something. What's your perspective on what do you like to be called? And is there a reasoning behind it?
What do I like? Can you explain that?
Sure. Well, I don't know if like is the word, but in terms of, cancer patient, cancer survivor, cancer, whatever terminology you use to, in terms of your cancer journey,
Oh, okay. I use cancer patient because I'm still dealing with the effects of cancer, although I have drastically improved. Hey, Lance, how you doing? Great to see you. Thank you.
Hey, Lance.
As far as I've been battling for almost 2 years now, prostate, bone, and lung cancer, and my prostate cancer is completely healed. When I started this journey,
Awesome.
My PSA was close to 1,000, which is unheard of. My oncologist said that number that I had was by far the worst that she had ever seen. And now, as we stand today, my PSA is down, which is the marker for prostate cancer, is down to 0.8. So it's completely healed and is doing very well. My lung cancer, I just had scans about 2 weeks ago, and that's gotten a lot better. Still dealing with the remnants. Thank you, Maria. Still dealing with the remnants of it, and also dealing with bone cancer to a lesser extent, but the metastasizing has stopped. We have it under control, and I only have to see my oncologist at this point every 3 months. So, but I don't mind being labeled a cancer patient. I've had people say, you can't do that, and you need to stop that, and everything. But it's the easiest thing for me to open a door, and that's what I look to do, is always look to open a door and invite conversation. And so that's I don't mind whatever people want to call me. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to call myself. So I'm fine with all of that, because it helps me to engage. It helps me to open doors. It helps me to get on the subject as quickly as possible, which none of us have extra time that we can afford to waste. And so that's what I'm all about, is to get to the point and see if whoever I'm speaking with, if we can help each other.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Mark. I know
Sure.
I was talking to somebody recently, and they didn't like the word patient. They preferred the word fighter, I think. So I guess it's just, it's all in your perspective, I guess, where, in your mindset and where you're at in the journey too.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's whatever a person feels comfortable with. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't, I think that at this point in my cancer journey, I'm going to have to deal with certain things about it for the rest of my life, but I'm okay with that. I'm alive, and I feel great. And, it's just collateral damage as far as I'm concerned. And I keep improving slightly over time, but there's certain things that I've come to accept, which is okay. So my question for you, in fact, I don't know how you did this, but you read my mind.
Ooh.
And it had to do, you answered my question with what I was considering for my next question. Okay. And
Okay.
you talked about making, showing up perspectives on cancer a movement.
Yeah.
And that was my exact question for you is how do we expand this movement? Because there is a movement going on here, whether anybody, will acknowledge that or not. We
Mhm.
are making a difference. And so how do we promote and expand this movement?
Right, right. Well, I'll be making an announcement at the in-person event. Or maybe I'll make the announcement during the show. That'll be at 2:30 on November 5th. Um, but in terms of, how to expand the show or that kind of thing, it's always appreciated. And I don't mention this often enough, but it's always appreciated when people can share the show. And I know you do this, Mark. And that kind of thing, it's always appreciated when people can spread the word who show up for the show. That's really the best way to spread the word about the show is organically, through people who show up and actually experience what it's like to be here. Yeah, so that's really the answer for now. There are some other things coming soon to a theater near you.
I love that. Absolutely love it. In fact, I'm not going to let that one go either. But no, that's fantastic to hear, because I think as a society and as a world, we need to really promote the good and the great things. And in my mind, there's no question that this is this is a great thing. Really, really great. It gives people like myself and all the people here an opportunity to express themselves and to share and to become part of this wonderful, wonderful community. And one of the blessed things that I gave a speech at my daughter's wedding, and one of the things that I wanted to do was to thank all the people that that attended, that have supported me. And that's so important, because a cancer journey is not meant to be lived alone. A successful cancer journey involves a lot of people and a lot of people's support, and little things, little comments, words of encouragement are so important in this cancer journey. People don't realize what a difference it makes, but we can also make a difference in other people's lives as we go through this. And every person, walking this earth is going through something, period. Everybody's going through some kind of their own personal journey, and it's important that we reach out and touch people's lives as human beings and try to help make their life better, even if it means a smile or saying hello or how you doing or just wishing somebody to have a great day. We could all do our part to help make this world of ours better. And that's what's so important to me.
I love all of that, Mark. That's all so true. And appreciate all of your support and all that you've shared today. We have several other people waiting in the green room here, and I can't believe we're almost halfway through the show. Probably partially due to my shenanigans of trampling through the house, trying to find my way to my office here. Zach says, journey is not lived alone. Love that, Mark.
Thank you, Zach. Appreciate it.
Mic drop. Yes.
Well,
thank you, Mark. And next week, Mark is going to be back because you're going to be guest hosting.
Yes, I am.
Yes. And
I'm looking forward to it.
And our guest is going to be Jonathan Adams, which
Yes.
Mark found this person.
Yes, and I think everybody is gonna love Johnny, and he is wonderful. I did a video with Johnny, and it was called From an Olympic Dream to Cancer, and that's what happened with Johnny is he was training for the Olympics. He was a runner and a sprinter, and he was training, and all of a sudden his training regimen got interrupted by a diagnosis of testicular cancer, and so Johnny has an incredibly beautiful, positive attitude. I love it, and you're gonna love him. I can't wait because he is so inspiring to me, and he also writes a series of incredible children's books. So we're not gonna take any more away, but please join us next week with Johnny Adams, Tim, and I.
Awesome. And Mark, remind people where they can find their YouTube channel and how can they connect with you.
You could reach out to me on LinkedIn, or you could check my channel is called To Be Your Own Hero, the number 2, the letter B, Your Own Hero, and it's on YouTube. And anybody who would want a link, just reach out to me I'm on LinkedIn. And yeah, I'm so honored by the incredible people that I have the opportunity to interview. And it was so fun. I sat down with a longtime viewer of my channel at the wedding, and she was saying, I can't wait for each week to watch your interview, because she says, where do you get these amazing people? And so yeah, Johnny is one of those I've interviewed already. I met him on LinkedIn. So hope you join us next week for Johnny Adams on Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, thank you, Mark. I look forward to our show next week, and thank you for showing up right now.
Thank you, Tim. We'll see you later on down the road.
Sounds good. Thanks, Mark. All right. Thank you, everyone. And a shout out to my outlet over here. If you need an outlet, well, don't come visit me in the woods, but there's one over there. So thank you, everyone. We are here on Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer at the first ever Ask Me Anything episode of Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer, episode number 48. We just got off here with Mark Kageyama, a occasional guest host, as well as and he will be back next week. And also he's been a guest on the show, and you can oftentimes find him in the comments of the show. So thank you, Mark. Up next, we have, well, I'm just going to bring him on the screen. I'm just going to do it. Hello, Zach.
What's up, Tim the Whim?
Zach Attack, what's going on?
Man, you're jumping around from outside, inside, from laptop to computer. You're amazing, man. You had Mark hosting the show. Congratulations, Mark. Congratulations, Mark, to your daughter's wedding. My son just got married last weekend, and that's why my voice is a little shot. And so congratulations. I've been in your shoes in that respect, but have not been in your shoes with your fight. And I just have the utmost respect for you, and thank you for showing up and sharing your thoughts. And I bet there wasn't a dry eye in the house when you toasted your daughter.
I bet.
How you doing, Tim?
I'm doing great. How are you, Zach?
We finally get to meet live after all this online craziness.
Yeah, so everybody, kind of the story about how Zach and I know each other is through Rachel Druckenmiller's show. She has a show called Unmute Yourself, which is every other Monday usually. And Zach is pretty much always in the comments and was recently on the Ask Me Anything show over there. So now he's here, and he's also been showing up in the showing up comments, and he's going to be attending the in-person showing up event coming up on November 5th here in Pennsylvania.
I've become a professional stalker.
You have, and you're very successful at it.
Oh my Lord, it's so great to be here, and congratulations on the Just Ask Me show. I know that takes a lot of I'm in New Jersey, so I have to clean this up. It takes a lot of courage to do that. So congratulations on doing this. This has been a lot of fun so far. A lot of great people in the chat, so it's been awesome.
I appreciate that. And I want to shout out Peter Clark is here in the comments. He said 1 year of showing up. Much respect for sharing these stories. Thanks for being here, Peter Clark. And I'm actually going to get to meet Peter Clark in person. I'm going to Houston, Texas on Friday to a conference put on by Andreas Sanchez, who holds a monthly, it's called the Worthy Rally for Hope and Kindness. And she's doing her first in-person event this Friday in Houston. We've been supporting each other as we've been probably the last more than 6 months as we've been creating our events. So shout out to Andrea for sure, because I would not be where I am with my event, which was supposed to be in September, but it's in November now. But anyway, Zach, I'm really looking forward to meeting you next month. Do you have any connections to cancer, Zach?
So I too am looking forward to meeting you in person November 5th. Thank you so much for the invite. At first, I kind of scratched my head, like, why would I come to something like that besides getting to meet you and, of course, Rachel? But as I gave it more thought, and the reason why I try to show up for your show is that I feel like I am a caregiver advocate. I've become one over the years for many reasons. Not only do I care for my own parents, I cared for my dad before he died and care for my mom. But I'm also ran a home care agency for 13 years. And I believe I've become a caregiver advocate. But I can't become a full caregiver advocate if I don't quite understand everyone who needs care. And so the more I learn about it, the better advocacy I could provide. I do have family who've had cancer. I've had friends who've had cancer, currently have cancer. So I do appreciate the fact that you offer this because it does give us some education, some inspiration. It raises our awareness. I mean, just like I kind of put into the chat, sometimes you just don't know what to say. Hey, you're a warrior, or you're a fighter. Sometimes you wonder, are you going to insult somebody? I totally can understand calling somebody a patient could put somebody off. I can totally respect that, because that's when I used to take care of a lot of elderly. We didn't call them patients at all. They would be really put off by that at the end of the day. They were clients, But your show's given me some awareness. My connection is that I have quite a bit, unfortunately. At the age of 60, I have quite a few friends and family that have gone through it or are currently going through it. One, I hope that you'll have on your show, my good buddy Lee Silverstein. Shout out to Lee. He's freaking Superman.
Wow.
He's been a fighter for 11 years. He's amazing, and I try to be there for him, support him in any way I can. And so I do learn from being on your show and talking to you. The closest I have come, Tim, I will tell you, it pales compared to the things that you've talked about and the guests you've had. But I will share this with you. Right before my hip replacement surgery, it was my second one. I've had both hips replaced. I went and did a body scan, just your average body scan, and they did take 2 biopsies, one off my thigh. My thigh, and one off my abdomen. And then I went and got my hip replaced, right? And literally a day after my hip replaced, you're feeling like crap. You're at home. You can't really walk around. I get a phone call, and they tell me you need to come in immediately. We need to remove you have skin cancer. And I'm like, I'm not coming in.
What?
I could barely move around. I said, I'm not coming in. And when the words that really hit me hard is, you don't seem to understand what I'm saying to you. You need to come in tomorrow. And I'm like, wow, that was serious. And I did go in and have both of them removed. And believe it or not, there were more sutures in my shin and my abdomen than there were in my hip to get a hip replacement. And I was extremely petrified and very thankful and grateful that I've been doing quite a few body scans ever since. And this was 7 years ago, and nothing has come back. That's the closest I've come. I can't even imagine what individuals like yourself and other fighters have gone through. I really can't. Just from that little thing I went through.
Well, I really appreciate you sharing your story. And, something I've learned through having conversations with so many people is that, everybody has their own story. Everybody has their own severity of cancer or whatever you want to call it. But everybody's story matters. And people are going to be watching this show. I mean, it's a show about cancer. So there are likely people watching who are not going to be commenting just because of the nature of the show, right? So we may be impacting people's lives that we don't even know about. So by you sharing that, I really appreciate that.
Hey, you're welcome. You're welcome. So I do have a question for you.
You do.
My first question is, was that a trampoline in your backyard?
It is a trampoline. When are you coming over?
The second question is, can you do a somersault on that trampoline?
No. My almost 8-year-old daughter Caitlin could though, or Megan. My 11.
All right. I just had to ask. I mean, I would. I'm 6'5", and if you try to see me do a somersault, I would look ridiculous, more ridiculous. In seriousness, my real question to you, Tim. First of all, I understand. Come December, you're going to be 1 year cancer free.
Yeah.
So congratulations on that. That is incredible. Like I said earlier, I don't really have no way of understanding what that might feel like. So maybe you could share, to help me support others who, like Lee, by the way, just had one of his final checkups in New York City, and he sent me a message. I reached out to him to see how'd it go, and he goes, "I'm free." The doctor said high five, and he was elated. And so you want to be able to try to help celebrate with that, but I also want to be able to understand what that feels like. Can you share with us, so what does that feel like? What has changed since that year that you got the bad words, and what's different now approaching 1 year cancer free?
Yeah, thanks for that question. So just to give you a little backstory, when I found out that I was cancer free in December of 2021, it was only 1 month after the show was created with me and Kara Ulker. So we had created the show about cancer, and then 1 month later, I found out I was cancer free. So what was your question again?
So what's changed, from a year ago, knowing now that you're cancer free? How do you feel about that, if there is a feeling? And what can people like us who have not experienced that, continue to further support you?
Yeah. So I was so excited when I found out, because I had cancer for 15 years. I mean, overall, I've been doing really well. I take oral chemotherapy medication every day, and likely will, even though I don't have cancer anymore, because I have chronic leukemia. So they suggest that you take the medication for the rest of your life, even though technically I don't have any more leukemia cells in my body. So I was really shocked when I found out that I didn't have cancer, because the 4 tests before that, there's this test called a genetic test that they do, and it measures the percentage of leukemia cells in your body. And each of those tests, the numbers were going up and up and up and up. So I thought the numbers were going to be up again, and I was starting to get worried. Like, I was really stressing out when I had that appointment. But then he called me the next day and told me, "You have no more leukemia cells in your body." And I was like, it was like the most surreal thing, because for almost 15 years, I have leukemia. And then after 15 years, all of a sudden, there's no more leukemia cells. Wow. Right? So I don't think it sunk in for, I don't know how long. I don't even know, probably not even in a week. It is just the most surreal feeling, but really exciting. So So coming up on a year of being cancer free, I have spent so much time this year dedicating it to making an impact in the cancer community. Between the show and between the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society Man and Woman of the Year philanthropic competition, that fundraiser, and then this in-person event, which was going to be in September. And but anyway, it's all good. So I think it's inspired me to continue with the show, to come up with more ways. Stay tuned in person in November to expand the showing up movement. This is kind of a different perspective. At the same time, doing the show, I do find sometimes that I have a bit of survivor's guilt. Hosting a show, being cancer-free, and then having all these amazing guests come on and share their cancer stories, oftentimes which are like they've gone through so much, right? And I sometimes share that with them, you know, or in different conversations. And that's something that I struggle with. And even something, one of the reasons that I didn't share my cancer story, I only started sharing my cancer story in 2021 after almost 15 years, was that with the oral chemo medication over those 15 years, I, for the most part, I have not suffered, you know, and I hear so many stories of cancer patients that are or have, you know, so that's something that I still think a lot about and have over time. Yeah.
I appreciate your vulnerability, Tim. Caregiver survivor guilt is the furthest thing from my mind in talking to somebody like you. And so that really helps. I really appreciate your sharing that. And if you've got a tip or two for a good friend on how to, do you want it being brought up? Do you like to discuss it, or do you feel like you got to move on? Any tips, advice on that?
To discuss cancer with a cancer patient? I mean, it depends on the person. I would just, just ask them, how can I support you? One person I know recently was diagnosed with cancer, and they recently shared a post on Facebook and said, I really appreciate all your messages, but it's just too much, all of talking so much about cancer. It's just too much for me. He said, something I do with my family is we send selfies to each other on Messenger, silly selfies. So I would appreciate it if you would send me silly selfies, because they will make me smile, So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So, it's something like that, to make somebody smile. That's something else. But, I would just ask the person, how can I support you?
Great advice, Tim. I can't thank you enough for today and for showing up and for paying it forward and just being who you are, man. I hope you are allowing hugs, because I'm going to give you a big ass bear hug.
Oh, don't worry. I can't wait. Thank you, Zach. I really appreciate it.
See you on the 5th.
Sounds good. Bye. Thanks.
Bye.
That's Zach. Zach Attack. I think I'm sticking with Zach Attack. Let us know in the comments, what word do you want us to rhyme with your name? We want to know for sure. Okay, next. Can you guess in the comments who I'm bringing up next? I'm trying to think a word that rhymes with his first name. It's kind of tricky. I'm just going to bring him on. He knows who he is, because he just does. Hi, Stefan. Hello, B-Fan.
I was hoping that you weren't going to find that word that rhymes with my name, because it goes back to my news days in the newsroom. And I don't think you want to drop it on this show.
Tell me later. For people who don't know who you are, will you please tell people who is Stefan Kaplan in brief?
Sure. So Tim's B-Fam, as a lot of people know me by now. It's we go by the term brother from another mother, because we talk so much and help each other so much with so many things. But I'm also a social media and visual strategist and a live stream producer, and I've worked with Tim on many projects and things, and we've known each other for a number of years now. And I just think what Tim's doing, what you've been doing here, like everybody else has already put forth, is tremendous. I think what you've done is created an incredible community for people to communicate and understand each other better and learn more about everybody's journeys with so many. Isn't it mind-boggling sometimes how many different types of cancer there are?
It is definitely mind-boggling.
It's absolutely mind-boggling. Sure. I mean, yeah, we always hear about, unfortunately, I guess the ones that always come out the most. There's skin cancer, there's prostate cancer, there's this, but there's so many different forms of blood cancer and all these other things out there that it's very scary. It's very intimidating, I have to say.
And this month is Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Breast cancer is, of course, horrible, and all forms of cancer are horrible, but it just boggles my mind sometimes, how prevalent it is. And I have no doubt in my mind about certain factors that probably, of course, some of it is genetic, not some of it. Unfortunately, a lot of it is genetic, but also, the things we eat, unfortunately, chemicals in foods, and so many other things. And unfortunately, the sun is so strong these days. I hope more and more people protect themselves. I certainly, over the past few years, ever since I started losing more and more hair on the top of my head in the back.
I can't notice with your...
Yeah, it's because I become a hat person. I wear a lot of hats because I have them on, because if I go out on sunny days, I don't like to forget that, I was out, for example, on the High Line the other day, all day, and out in the bright sun. And I wore a hat all day, because I just wanted to make sure that I protected my head. I don't want with skin cancer that way. Like Zach was just talking about other things, finding out that you have to get certain things removed because of the sun and other stuff. But, anyway, but I think what you've done, here is tremendous. And, I was just thinking about, I think this is like 5 months after I lost my dear friend Emilio now.
Is it 5 months already?
It's 5 months already.
Oh my gosh, it feels like it was like 2 months ago.
I know. It seems like I just went to Maryland to stay with him. People don't know, which they probably don't. I lost a very dear friend of mine, Stefan with a Stetson. I don't wear Stetsons, but maybe I'll get one day. But I lost a very dear friend of mine who was battling, first he was battling pancreatic cancer. He beat that. And then sadly enough, about a year and a half later, he found out that it had spread to his liver, I guess. And, he ended up with liver cancer. And anyway, it was just devastating, to find out when he first got sick. I'll never forget sitting down with him when he came to New York to tell me. He didn't come to tell me, but he was in New York, and we got together for dinner, and we were sitting down, and he couldn't eat like half his food, because his stomach was bothering him so much. And I said, I hope you're getting that looked after. And I found out soon after that, he found out that it was pancreatic cancer. And, just to see somebody go through all that, and then the amazing struggle that he had, but the amazing fight that he put up, and everything. Um, but then going into, I guess, beating it, remission, so to speak, and everything else for quite a while. We did a live stream together. We started a live stream together called Real Talk Live from the Barn. He has a great barn in the back of his house in Maryland. And I helped him set up the show. I helped him set up all the studio, everything. We had a great show where we had great guests on. We even had Chris Gardner on, who the movie The Pursuit of Happiness was made after.
Wow.
I won an Oscar. And either won an Oscar or an Oscar contender. It was great story about Chris Gardner, who's a friend of mine. Now, I knew him from before the show, but working with AARP and Emilio, but then he came on the show. Anyway, the point is that Emilio had so much to give and so much yet to do. And at 59 was just tragic to lose him, So
yeah, I remember when he passed. And
yeah, but listening to all your stories, and everything else, from a lot of the shows I've caught, I'll be honest, I can't listen to every show either. It's hard. It's difficult to listen to, because Emilio is not the only person I've lost. I've lost other people, but Emilio is definitely like my closest friend, and my anchor for the past like 10 years of my life. I knew him for a whole decade, and he did so much for me. But what I learned also, I'll give you my perspective on something here about cancer, is that if you ever find out that you have a very dear friend, not just a family member, well, Emilio was like family to me. He was like my brother, too. I mean, really, we were just so tight. If you ever have the chance, and I don't care what it takes, what it costs, out of your time, everything else, this and that, if you have a chance to go see that person and be with them. I stayed with him for 3 days, probably about a little less than a month before he passed, maybe 3 weeks. I'll never, ever, ever. I mean, it was just, I'm so thankful that I went and stayed with him in his home for 3 days and shared that time with him and his nephew. Always take that opportunity to see someone. We live in a digital generation now, I think, and not saying not everybody can do this, but we live in a digital generation now. And I think that we now have become sort of so in tune with communicating digitally, that not that we forget, but nothing can replace being there with somebody,
Oh, definitely.
Even Zoom calls, everything. And listen, listen, we think of the power, though. It's great that we have this digital communication now for people who can't make those trips, who may not be able to physically, financially, and other things. So it's a gift. But if you can move worlds to be there with somebody, move that world and be there.
Totally. Thank you for sharing all of that. And thank you, everyone who is showing up. Bill Bradford is in the comments. He says, sorry, I'm late. Nobody is ever late for the Showing Up show. Whenever you show up, whether you're live or on the replay, whether you show up at 3 or tomorrow or whenever, it's appreciated for sure. So no need to apologize.
But I also, I want to say the importance of something you're doing too that is important is that, and you've had him on, I've had him on a show that I did last year before I had to bail from doing shows for a little while because I do producing a lot now and stuff. And I just didn't have the mental capacity to do both, or physical.
I get it.
But the thing is that Tim McDonald, who's a dear friend of ours, who's battling colon and liver cancer, and he needs a liver transplant. So if anybody, everybody should go to timsliver.com. That's TIMS, just like Tim, but with an S, timsliver.com. And if you know anybody who can either sign up and pass some information along, somebody who can get Tim a liver, he needs a liver desperately to be able to survive what he's battling. And if he gets it, his chances will be that much better. So, but my point with what I was getting to was that being advocates for making sure that people get screened for things and check things out. If you have a pain in your stomach, if you have a pain in your leg, if you have a pain or anything's bothering you, I don't care what it is, go get it checked out. I mean, I recently, this past year, had a colonoscopy and an endoscopy because I was having some issues, a couple of things with my esophagus, with a couple of things. Turns out to just be GERD, and not just GERD, but it's GERD, and you have to take care of it because there is such a thing as esophageal cancer and stuff. But you want to check these things out and take care of them, please, because nothing is worth waiting on.
Definitely.
Even if you have insurance, the bills may come in afterwards. I even saw some bills come in even with insurance for 2 scopes like that. And I'm like, damn, it's crazy what we have to do in this country, even with insurance, if we have insurance, let alone if we don't.
Right.
So, but
Zach says, I have a friend who donated a liver to their father and is willing to talk to anyone who might be a good match for Tim, but very nervous about it.
timsliver.com. Just go to it. Tim is a great guy. He's a fellow social media guy who's taught us all so much about community management. But more than that, Tim is a great, wise man, as I call him, a great, wise human being with a great heart. Always just loves to connect people just for the pure sake of connecting people and communicating. And
yes, exactly.
We're the same way. All of you, me, Tim, all of us, we're in that same communication frame of mind. I mean, I always, said, I could talk to a tree, and I do sometimes.
I want to see you take a picture of you talking to a tree, or a video. I want to see a video of you talking to a tree, Stefan.
Hey, people will laugh, but I've become so thankful for what nature has done for me over the past 3 years during the pandemic and taking walks together. And you and I took one together when you came to visit me in Ramsey. We recently took one in the nature preserve where I go, and you saw why I love it so much there. And I've seen where you walk along the Delaware when I came up to hang out with you. And, so we get it. But I actually, I'll thank a deer. I'll thank a frog. I'll thank things for when I get a great picture and for that moment, because you know what? Yes. I feel they've gifted me something. Maybe I'm losing my mind a bit. But
I love it. If you're going to be grateful, you might as well be grateful to whatever you're grateful to.
For nature. I'm grateful for the creatures. I'm grateful for them being there and with their presence, and for me being able to get such inspiration and peace of mind from them.
Yeah.
It's a thing of beauty, to see them in their natural environment and soak it all up. So, Tim's here. Look at that.
Yes. Yeah. Tim showed up in the comments. Yeah.
Okay. So he's right there. He even put the link in the comments for you guys.
Yeah.
Just pass it along, man. I mean, Tim and I, all of us, we've been doing as much as we can. Given our own lives and everything, try to help Tim as much as possible. Anybody else can jump in and share his links, share his information. Please do. We really want to find him a liver, and do whatever we can. It's really at that stage where he needs one. So please.
Yes.
Totally. But
all right, Stefan, before you go, do you have any questions? This is an Ask Me Anything show.
No, I know. I came on here and I started blabbing. You got me started, and that was it.
I'm shocked.
But I thought Zach was the same way, so we're all the same way. We love to get on here and talk.
I love you all. I love you all, and your blabbing and your.
He looks like a great guy. Sounds like a great guy. Hope to meet you one day, Zach. Mark Lee's here. Mark's the man. Do
you have any questions, Stefan?
Okay.
There's one more person in the green room. So.
Yeah. Well, out of everything you've seen, heard, learned from doing, how many shows now have you done on this?
This is episode number 48.
Wow. I did
50. On November 5th, it will be the 52nd show.
Oh, wow. I did 50 shows, so I know what that's like. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Out of everything that you've done and everything that you've soaked up and everything else, what is the biggest takeaway, in terms of of what you've done community wise with this? What is what is the biggest takeaway? And two, what is the one thing you still want to accomplish?
The thing I still want to accomplish, you will hear on November 5th.
Okay.
Stay tuned.
Okay.
Got to keep the tease going.
I know you really are a good teaser, man.
I am. I love that.
By the way, folks, I can't get when Tim's got a secret, even me, his brother from another mother, I can't get it out of him sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. When I announce something, very few people know. And what was your first question? Something about community?
My first one was, what's your biggest takeaway from this show? What's your biggest takeaway from this show in terms of what you've done?
In terms of what I've learned or what
you've learned, yeah. About community, about community.
About community.
About building such a community, because I you and I talked about this from the very beginning when you had this thought in your head, and I'm not saying whatever, but I was on you about creating this show, and I told you it was a great idea because coming at it from a personal perspective. I always said it's all about keeping it real and speaking from your experience about things.
I mean, the thing about this show, I think what resonates, and the people who are in the comments, let me know in the comments, what your experience has been like on the show. Honestly,
are you reflecting?
No, I'm not. I'm thinking while I'm speaking. I mean, when you create a show, you never know if it's going to resonate. You never know, and for me, it's never about how many people show up, right? If one person shows up, and if the show can impact one person a week, or if nobody shows up live, and if somebody watches it on the replay 3 years from now, right? This show, I never expected the community to form around this show that has. But it must be something that's needed for all these people to keep showing up. And I'm not saying that's a brag or anything like that. I'm just saying.
No. People need a community. They need an online group. Listen, a lot of online groups are great. As we know, a lot of them are private, because a lot of people want to do things privately, and that's understandable, and that's needed because not everybody's. I'm an extrovert. I'm an extreme extrovert. I mean, I've toned it down a bit. I guess the older you get, the more you age, the more mellow you become. At least I feel I'm becoming a little more mellow. But
I have some more time. Is that what you're saying?
But this is a needed community that's needed, and an online forum, so to speak, that's needed, and you've tapped into it, and that's magical, and that's important. I'm still looking for that. I've been evaluating certain things, but you've done a wonderful thing here, and everybody should know that as Stefan, an extrovert. Let's talk understatement by Mark Lee.
Are you deflecting to the comments? Stop being a producer. I think Stefan, one of the things about this show that's been that I really like about the show is that in the 1 hour, or the typically 1 hour, we're now 1 hour and 5 minutes about, is that any of the emotions can come out. We could be laughing, we could be crying, we could be serious, we could be silly. And so creating a space where we can have all of those different feelings. We've even danced on this show together, and having a space where you can just be, where you can share your story, but you can also use expression in other ways as well, whether it's music, whether it's dancing, whether it's whatever it is. That's one of the things that I love about the show, is that it's because creating a show about cancer, and Mark Lee, I'm going to bring you on soon. I know you've been waiting a long time. I'm really sorry. Creating a show about cancer to be honest, is really hard. I mean, it's such an emotional subject, especially when, I mean, now I don't have cancer, but I'm a cancer survivor, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
I've gone through cancer,
Mm-hmm.
and then having conversations with people every week about cancer. And then I have a pre-interview with them every week, along with Erica Campbell, my amazing co-host. Shout out to Erica Campbell, who couldn't be here this week. But I'm so blessed to have her as my co-host now. But creating a show around cancer is not easy.
No.
But I keep doing it because of all the people who show up. You know,
Right.
the people that say that they've found a family here, that they've felt healed in some way, that they, you know, they connect with each other, and it's like a family here, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's why I keep going, because of
you've done a great
family.
You've done a great thing, Tim, and keep going with it and everything. And if anybody's listening who knows that a sponsor for Tim for the show, not just for the event, but for his show, you know, somebody should sponsor the show, some company, some organization, some nonprofit, somebody that has some connection, you know, to cancer or community or life in general. I mean, it doesn't have to be necessarily specific. Sponsor this show for Tim so he can keep it going, you know?
Thank you, Stefan. And Jennifer says, okay, I'm going to let you go.
Mark Lee, before he asked me to break dance,
Yes.
I saw something in the comments.
Dad, let's break dance.
My old disco days. Mark's always going to go back to my old disco days and try to get me to do some, like, you know, break dance move. No, not happening.
Oh my gosh. All right. Thank you, Stefan.
All right. See ya.
See ya. All right, everybody, we are here on Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer. We are 8 minutes longer than we normally are. We're taking this show a little bit longer because we're just showing up, and we're just going to keep going. I appreciate you all and understand if you can't keep showing up because you have other things to do, because, you know, things happen. But I'm going to bring on the next guest. And the next guest has a huge heart, and is just an amazing person, and he's got a pretty awesome beard too.
It's about time for a beard haircut once again and all of that, but that's all right. Until I get there, I'll stick with my awesomeness. I'm upset at Stefan. I was really hoping he was going to show me those breakdancing moves, because I knew that he had those old disco days, and I know that he can breakdance, and I really wanted to see Stefan breakdance for you. I was looking forward to the breakdance and or the electric slide, because I knew that Stefan can do that. I have no doubt in my mind that he can handle it. So I was waiting for that. I know that he got his amazing energy, as that other person said. So I was waiting for the breakdance to happen, and it didn't happen. So that's all right. Maybe he'll breakdance with the Stetson on his head, because I saw the exact one of the Stetson on the head. So breakdancing with the Stetson.
Yes. Well, thank you for being here, Mark. And Mark,
no, you know, I'm always glad to be here with you. We were talking about me trying to be at your event in September. I've actually got a Road to the Apollo show the week after your event, and I think it was around the same week as the event last time. So this time there's actually some distance between the events. So I'm not making any promises, because we know that the finances and other things get in the way, but I am going to still try to see if I can't make it up there in a few weeks to your amazing in-person event and all along those lines, because it sounds like it's going to be truly spectacular. You're going to reveal some secret that you don't want to tell us about right now. You know, I want to know right now and everything. And I've actually got, you know, because I'm always full of offers, and since I've got a power of a network behind me and all of that, I've got an offer for you that hopefully you'll take me up on it and everything of that nature. So I have an offer for you that I'm getting ready to offer to you right now, and you can say yes or no. So this might be one of my questions, but Pod TV made the mistake. Yes, I said the mistake, because I'm trying to get Stefan to do something as well, but they made the mistake of saying, hey, Mark, you got a lot of friends who do lots of things in the live streaming. You're producing a lot of shows. You can recruit shows. You can do whatever you want to. We're basically making you the de facto program manager or program director and all of that. So while it can't air at the exact same time, because when you're doing your show, there's another show that airs. But if you would like, I can re-air Perspectives on Cancer on the Pod TV network on Roku. All you got to do is say yes, and then I'll figure out where we'll put it at and all of that, and then send me the MP4.
Yes. Thank you, Mark Lee.
It's a yes.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
We'll start airing Perspectives on Cancer on Roku TV. We're building up our audience, and so maybe some of that audience is folks in that cancer space. And I know you're going to ask me at some point, but I've got a lot of connections to cancer, including some family members, including a very dear friend. Y'all were talking earlier about breast cancer, and I was actually looking at the feed of one of my dear friends who is actually celebrating her mother, who unfortunately the mom passed away, and I think her birthday was either a day or two ago. But my friend Sharon Allen, who is a extremely talented singer and an extremely talented singer, because she does both painting and singing. She's been fighting and is a breast cancer survivor. I think she's been fighting that disease for a multiple amount of years. I want to say almost a decade. I'd have to ask Sharon about that, but I know she's been fighting it. Currently, as I understand it, it is in a remission and all of that. But I do think that she had a partial. I don't think it was a full, but she did have a partial loss of the breast and all of that with the mastectomy. I think that's what they call those things and everything. But definitely, and I don't think it was a full, but definitely that is something that resonates with me because Sharon is a dear friend. Don't tell anybody. Keep it very quiet. Everybody just listening. Keep it very quiet. I don't think it's that much of a secret.
Nobody's listening. We're not
Nobody's
listening.
But
nobody can hear
quiet.
You. No.
Keep it very quiet. She's also very cute. And I have somewhat of a crush on her. But y'all didn't hear that. But y'all never heard that from me.
Okay, then.
So keep it very quiet.
Anyway, and Mark, you're also going to be a candidate for Man of the Year next year, right?
That is, I need to get in touch with them. They were having that they wanted us to do. We had the initial conversation, and they actually, we kind of lost touch, but they wanted me to be more of a activist in that space. So I do need to reach out to the North Carolina people because after we had the conversation, they were like, you know too many people. You don't need to be Man of the Year. You need to do something more than Man of the Year. So that was actually a compliment to, I guess, the work that I did with you as well as some of the others. But I do need to get in touch once again with Pam as well as our local North Carolina people and be like, hey, look, I am still down for it. If y'all want me to be Man of the Year, I'll be Man of the Year. If y'all want me to be an activist, caregiver, as Zach was talking about, I'm good for that as well. But whatever y'all need in this journey and in this fight, I am all about it because, as you know, whether it's the veterans, whether it's people that are fighting cancer, whether it's Black Lives Matter, there's just a lot of things we got to change in this world. And we are oftentimes people that will make that difference and all of that. I know that my other friend, Zach, the funk musician, talks about this being kind of the age of the empath and all of that. So it used to be the age of the Aquarius. And I think that this is an age where many people that are caring about the world are trying to find a way to make the world a better world because there's nothing. I mean, we're glad to be in the world. We're glad to talk to the trees. And yes, I do talk to the trees and the rabbits. I have yet to hear the tree talk back. But if it does, I'll tell you what it says. Right now, I'm thinking that it's saying, you know, don't eliminate your waste on me. I'm keeping it clean here as to what I said in the chat and everything. And it's also saying, you know, stop leaning on me and things of that nature. That's what I think the trees are saying. I know the rabbits are usually just looking at me and going like, why is he looking at me? I wasn't looking at him. Why is he looking at me? And I'm like, because y'all are cute. And I'm not that cute. But they're like, why are you looking at me? And, you know, then they give you the look like, I'm just going to stare back at you. So until you go up there to the bus stop or wherever you're going, I'm just going to sit there and stare at you as well. So we have a stare off.
There you go.
Don't you have a stare off with your Bear fans?
Did you hear my bear story?
No, I want to know if you have a stare off. I did not hear your bear story, but do you have a stare off with the Bears?
No, but would you like to hear my bear story?
I would like to hear your bear story.
Welcome to the Cancer Bear Story Show, by the way. So what happened was that about a week ago, our daughter Caitlin, who is going to be 8 in 2 days, she's been loving walking to the bus stop in the morning, and sometimes I'll walk down and I'll walk back with her, and Joy will pick up Megan. Usually Joy, my wife, will pick up the girls in the afternoon. That's normally what we were doing before. But we started this tradition of me going down in the afternoon and I would walk back up with her, and she would like to ride on my shoulders, which I could do part of the way, not all the way, but part of the way. Yes. And Dimitri says, tell your bear story, Tim Stone. Yes, I'm telling it. So what happened was the other day I brought Caitlin down to the bus stop, and our neighbor was there, and our neighbor said, we saw a bear this morning. Our neighbor lives right next door.
Right.
And I was like, well, that's really comforting because I just walked down the hill with Caitlin and I have to walk back up the hill after the bus comes, right? She was like, don't worry about it. The bear went the other way. As if bears don't go the other way also sometimes too, right? So I start walking up the hill, and what is walking directly down the hill?
The bear.
The bear. And not a tiny bear either. So what do? Can you guess what I do, Mark Lee? And anybody who's still watching the show,
Did you go in the opposite direction and go the roundabout way to get to your house?
I turned around.
Yes.
I mean, I had no car, but I turned around and I walked at least a mile. Zach says run.
Yes.
I don't know if the bear would like if I ran. Would it run after me? I don't know. Have you seen a bear, Zach? So I turned around, I walked because I wasn't really close to the bear. I thought I would be okay. You've seen a bear, Zach? Did you? So what happened was I probably walked at least a mile and I got a cup of coffee at the coffee shop.
Well, I like your plan, but you may not know this, Tim, because a lot of secrets I like to reveal doing different people's shows and everything. And I have this amazing ability to communicate with bears, communicate with animals, communicate even with cats, because I'll sometimes see them in my apartment complex. I used to cat sit for my neighbor's cat before they moved the cat down to his parents' house and everything. But I've learned a lot about cat TV. I've learned a lot about bear TV. And I was actually watching bear TV, and I saw the bear that was telling the exact same story. I think it was all perspectives of cancer, the bear perspective, and all of that. So it was telling the exact same story.
We have all the perspectives here on Showing Up, all of them.
Hey, these perspectives are very important. But it was telling me what was going on, and it told me, I was taking my cubs down to the cub school and all of that, and I ran into this guy. He was kind of big. He wasn't overly big, but he was kind of big, and I had to decide what I was going to do and all of that. And in the bear story, the bear actually runs away and it goes to the honey shop. It does not go to the bear shop. It goes to the honey shop. And that's what happened with the bear. So you got two bear stories and all of that. But I got this story from the Tim Bug point of view, but the bear was walking the opposite direction. And actually, to your point, the bear actually did run. Tim just walked to the coffee shop. The bear ran to the honey shop. And all of that. So the bear actually
ran to the honey shop.
The bear ran to the honey shop, had some honey, and was trying to figure out what to do because it was scared of you, just like you were scared of it. So the bear ran to the honey shop. Just in case you were wondering, because I did find that out and all along those lines. And that was Mark's attempt at fun humor and all along those lines. Hope everybody enjoyed the joke and the funness, but I do think that animals are fun, and I do think that a lot of times they are watching us and they are having a lot of shows with us and all that. I do have one other quick animal thing, and then I do have a question for you.
I was wondering what your question is, but if you have more animal things first, I'm all for that.
And this is minor, but I think I put it in one of our shows. It might have been on the veteran show. But Mom also has animals, and I know you're talking about the bears and the turkey, but Mom has animals behind her house, or actually, because the house would come into the front of the driveway, so it's in her backyard, just like your bears and your turkeys are in your backyard. But she does not have bears that we're aware of, but she does have deer. I think she said it's the family of 8 turkeys and 6 deer, or maybe I've got it backwards. But sometimes she will sit on her front porch because this recent, like about a week or two, she closed up her swimming pool since nobody will be in the swimming pool till spring rolls back around. So fall and winter, you cover up the swimming pool and make sure that it is all protected. But she did say that she sat on her deck and was watching the turkey and deer show, because Mom has turkeys and deers in her backyard. So when I'm checking on you and your bears and turkeys, I will sometimes check on Mom and her deers and turkeys. And those are some pretty big deer that she has, but she does have some deer back there, and it's a full family. I think it's like, some little ones, some big ones, but it's a full family. And I'm sure they're watching her and having fun watching Mom, because she's over there in her property, and some of the neighbors have kids and some don't. But my question, and it was a somewhat serious question, but not overly, but I know that, a lot of times, because people, unfortunately, a lot of people are dealing with the very serious topic of cancer and cancer survival. I just told you about my friend Sharon and what she's been going through with breast cancer and all of that. But sometimes when they go through these things, they look at alternative therapy, whether that be in the cannabis space or whether that be some of these alternative medicines that exist, or whether that be herbal cures and all along those lines. I was just wondering, in your own journey, did you ever explore what some people consider experimental or alternative therapy, and what are your thoughts on alternative therapy?
So I haven't explored alternative therapy. I didn't even really know it was an option back when I was diagnosed. I really, like, my oncologist said, this is what we suggest for you. And that's what I tried, and that's been working and now I'm cancer free after 15 years. But I know people do use alternative therapies, and I know that it does work for many people, and we have had people on the show. If any of you watching live or on the replay want to look in the YouTube, if you go to YouTube and search for SOHN Social Media Solutions, SOHN Social Media Solutions, there's a Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer playlist there that has all the episodes of Showing Up. And we've interviewed people about, their perspectives on alternative options as well. But I've never explored them, just because what I'm doing has worked.
Yeah, it seems like it's worked, and it's worked wonderfully. My last question, and then I know we'll wind down this show shortly, and this is actually one question for both
I thought
of
we
you.
were going 4 hours, Mark.
No, we can go 4 hours if you want to. You might be alone, because I got to go, and this is where the question comes into play, because I've got to go back to HI, because I was doing a split shift today. So I was actually, ironically, working for the veterans, because every second and fourth Tuesday, the local veterans, or some of the local veterans, have a meeting at the HI Center, which is the cultural arts center that I do some work at, and I've got to go back there for the dance class. Yesterday was African dance. Today
Are you dancing?
No, I'm just watching them. But today is ballet, and Wednesday is yoga, and that's what I was wondering. I was wondering whether either you or that lovely wife of yours, and I do have a great deal of respect for her, one, because she puts up with you and those lovely 2 daughters of yours as well. And I do think that that's just a great family, but Joy has a lot to deal with and all of that. So big shout out to your wife, Joy. She's an amazing
Definitely
person,
a huge
and all of that. I'm a fan of Joy. You can tell her, Joy, that she has another fan. She's married to Tim, but she has another fan, in the sense of, I just think that she's an amazing lady. One, because she puts up with you, Tim, and also she puts up with those 2 lovely daughters of yours and all of that. Which
if I could just say, in all seriousness, I have taken a lot of time to work on this show in the last year, as well as the leukemia campaign and the in-person events. So definitely, in all seriousness, even though I hate to be serious too often, a huge shout out to my wife, Joy. And she does bring me much joy as well. But
she brings you lots of joy. I can see it when y'all are together on the streams. I see the smile on your face. I see how much joy she brings you. And I think that it is across both sides from what I see. Because, like I said, I have not had that pleasure in my life to have that other half that is that other half. But y'all are made for each other in my mind. I definitely see that whenever I see you, and the 2 kids are truly amazing as well. They're kind of precarious, but they are still amazing. And I love them as well, because they're
fun.
Lovely. They are fun and enjoyable. But what I was curious about was whether either you or Joy ever did either ballet, African dance, or yoga, because those are the 3 classes that we offer at HI. And I was wondering whether you ever did it either alone or with her, or whether you were aware whether she was involved in any of those spaces. So African dance, ballet, or yoga, even though I kept calling ballet belly dancing to a couple of my friends, and they were like, Mark, it's just like, yes, it is a beat dance, but belly dancing and ballet are totally different. So ballet is what I'm asking about, because that's what we have the classes in.
So I've never done African dance, either of us. As far as I know, I mean, Joy did African dance before we got married in her pre-marital days. I don't know.
Gotcha.
I didn't. What were the other questions? The other 2?
Ballet was the other dance class.
Ballet.
You've done ballet.
No. Do you think I should take it up?
I think you should take up ballet. It looks like very fun. And the last one, which I know a lot of people are very much into, because a lot of people are into that mindfulness space and everything, have either one of you done yoga? Not yogurt, but yoga.
I do like yogurt, especially Greek yogurt. Shout out to Chobani. Really good stuff. Let us know if you're watching live or on the replay, what's your favorite flavor of yogurt? We want to know that.
Yep.
But what we have done is when we got married, we took a dance class, and so we had a choreographed first dance. We did do that. That's the extent of our dancing, really.
I'm too busy. I know you don't like people who produce it at the same time, but I'm too busy laughing at Zach because he just said that he likes the sound of Tim with a tutu on. And I was thinking that could be some interesting variations of Tim's song with a tutu on, because definitely Zach was saying that he likes that idea.
And Jennifer likes raspberry yogurt. Thanks for sharing, Jennifer. Raspberry, I like raspberry too. Do you like yogurt, Mark?
It's been a minute since I've had yogurt. It was never one of my favorites, but I prefer yogurt over cottage cheese. And if I'm having yogurt, it is probably going to be one of the flavored ones. I have not tried raspberry that I can remember, but I did think I tried like one of those watermelon ones. That wasn't bad. And yogurt, like those yogurt ice cream drinks, are actually pretty good. So the straight yogurt, I was never really that big of a fan of. But if I was going to eat it, it was going to be a fruity flavor. And like watermelon or strawberry or something like that. I don't remember if I ever tried raspberry. And then I have tried some yogurt ice cream kind of mixes, and those are pretty good.
That's awesome. Well, this show has gone all sorts of directions today. We've talked about cancer. We've talked about yogurt. We've talked about bears. We've talked about turkeys. All sorts of things.
Not just any bears, but bears that have their own storyline and their own channel. Because the bears have their own channel, and that's where I got the story from them, because I was watching the bear channel.
Oh my gosh, Mark Lee, could you tell people how they can connect with you or find out more information about?
Please do. We're doing all kinds of amazing things, as you just heard. I've also talked to Dorothy, so she'll be joining as well in terms of shows. So Overstoppable Overcomers, as well as now Perspectives on Cancer, will be joining the family of shows on Pod TV. And
thank you, Mark Lee. I'm super excited
that I may recruit as well, but definitely Pod TV is basically a live streaming network, and I have become somewhat of the program manager. And of course, I do my own shows. The online dinner party will be taking place tomorrow. And of course, I also do the news show. Actually, Steve Rao is the primary host, but I do co-hosting with him, and I produce that show, which is every morning, 10 to 11, Monday through Friday. And of course, there's also the radio show with Mark Lee, and I produce a number of shows, including Coco McMillan, a former background vocalist for Gerald Levert, a show that we just started around Latin American culture, and particularly Latin American women and their perspectives on the culture, called Que Pasa, and a car show, and a number of other ones. I won't go into all of them because that would take forever. But if they go to podtv.tv or Pod TV Live on Roku and Amazon Fire, they'll probably find a show. As a matter of fact, there should be a show airing right about now, which is Remixing Culture and Politics with Pam and all of that. So that is going on right now at this particular time. And at 6 o'clock, there'll be a show around the metaverse. Yes, we even have a show around the metaverse. And
metaverse
from the DC, what do they call that area? The DMV area, because I think she's close to Maryland and all of that. She will be on the show, Nicole Maxwell, talking about, alt reality, metaverse, and whatever else they talk about in that space. But it is quite fascinating and all of that. But if anybody just wants to reach out to me in general, they want to hear me do my MC work, which I also do. If they want to hear my radio show, which is on WCOM, or a number of other things, if they just want to hear, hey, Mark, what are you up to? You're in the event planning space as well as the live streaming space now, thanks to Tim and Stefan and some of these other folks that introduced me to this lovely world and all that, because I was already in the world of radio. But if they want to hear me or learn more about me, they can definitely go to LinkedIn, where they'll find me under my name, and they'll see me shaking hands with Captain Newborn, the person, my partner in crime in the Road to the Apollo, where we take winners up to the actual Apollo there in New York. And they actually just came back, some of the winners. And I think we got like some ridiculous success rate, like 90% or something like that, actually get to go on to the show and all along those lines. But if they go to my LinkedIn, or if they reach me at email, bluesradio@gmail.com, and I'm not expecting any super stalkers, so I don't even mind giving the number. If they want to call me, 919-813-8652. 919-813-8652, or bluesradio@gmail.com. If any super stalkers come and start bugging me, I'm going to blame Tim, because I did it on his show and all of that. But not really.
I mean, if the stalkers show up on your phone, you're going to blame me, huh?
Oh, no, I would not. I'm the one who just gave the number, but I got to blame somebody, so I figured I'd blame you. It's been a minute since I've seen the original person that got us all into this madness, because I've not been up as early on Sunday as I usually would be. So it's been a minute since I've seen Shree's show, even though I know it
Oh
goes on
yeah.
regularly on Sunday and I need to get back on it. And ironically, I think that his son, I think it's the son, not the daughter, is going to school at Duke. So technically,
Oh.
he should have been giving me a call because I think that son is either on their sophomore or their junior year. So Shree, if you're watching, I'm still looking for you to get in touch with me because I think that son got accepted into Duke, and as far as I know, he's still over there, unless he changed his mind and transferred to someplace else. Either way, get in touch with me.
Yes, definitely. Well, thank you, Mark Lee. I appreciate you showing up.
I always appreciate you. You do amazing things, and I'm just so glad that you are in remission and all of that. Actually, earlier today, and this will be the last thing that I mentioned to you, was talking. I heard you talking about your new co-host. I was actually, because she pops in on the Gamers Den regularly, I was talking to your old co-host just in a phone conversation earlier this afternoon because we were talking about pronouns because my next door neighbor is in the trans community and all of that. So I was actually talking to Kara earlier today, and it had been a minute since I had given her a call, but I gave her a call and we had a really good conversation at that time.
Good. Shout out to Carol Ulker, who co-created the show with me.
Co-created the show with you and is actually apparently doing coaching full time. So I think she pulled out from the work situation and is trying to make a living as a coach.
Good for her. All right. Thank you, Mark Lee.
No problem. Always good to see you. And I am going to try to find a way to get up to that area of Pennsylvania. Shahola. I remembered it. Shahola. Get up there and visit you and all of that. Last quick question, and this is for you. Should I bring the if I could go to Mom's house and bring a turkey and a deer, should I bring the turkey and the deer to meet your bears and turkeys? So I want to know whether I should put them in like the plane or the bus or however I'm going to get there, or maybe a friend's car. Should we try to bring a turkey and deer with us?
Yeah, I mean, just check with the airline first to make sure that they accept those animals on the plane. Maybe they have a special department in luggage. Maybe they have a special animal. Maybe they have a special area where the animals can just roam free. I don't know.
That's a good question. Or maybe they have a discount for the animals because there's all these discount specials because of what's going on with what's happening with the pandemic, and then that caused trouble for the airline and the boat and all of these other industries. So maybe there's a discount for the turkey and the deer. So I've got to see if they've got a special.
Yes, we'll definitely have to check on that. All right. Thank you, Mark.
See ya.
Bye.
Always.
All right, everyone. This is a wrap just about for this extra long episode, but extra fun episode of Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer. It's been really great to be with you all. Thank you for showing up, whether you're live or on the replay. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, send me a direct message, no matter what your connection is to cancer, whether you're a cancer patient, cancer survivor, whatever word you use to call yourself, cancer supporter, et cetera, send me a direct message for sure. And let's have a conversation. Also, a reminder that next week's guest is cancer survivor Jonathan Adams, and we'll be having guest co-host Mark Kageyama on the show. He was just on before as a guest. So I'm very excited about that conversation. Also, a reminder to join us on November 5th in person here in Pennsylvania. Well, not in my basement, not here, but in Honesdale, Pennsylvania, for the first ever in-person Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer event. You could go to perspectivesoncancer.com. It's a free event, goes from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern time, and let's all show up together for that. So everyone, that is a wrap for this week's Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer, and I will see you all next week. Everybody get ready to dance. You guys, Mark Lee, Mark Kageyama, you guys gonna dance? Are you? You guys? I see you guys out in the comments too. Are you guys dancing? Let's get the dancing going. Here we go.